Great, the 7 killers of time management. Now, before we go into this video, I really want to make sure that you guys have actually done your goal setting exercise and you've been through the workbook. The reason for this is those goals, the way we've structured it in the workbook, really will fit hand in hand with the time management system we're putting together here. And once you've done that, if you haven't done it already, click on video 1 again. Go down to the bottom, download the, put your email address in, download the workbook and do it. Pause this video, get on with that, get it done, and then we're going to come back to this and really start changing your life immediately. So killer number 1, reactive versus proactive. Most people spend their lives reacting to the urgent trivia instead of focusing on the important things. This is very, very common. So many trivial things come along, but they seem urgent and they seem important because they seem urgent. And instead of being the things you should be focused on, you're working on things that are going to just take up your time. It's part of Pareto's law. You know, the Pareto's law states that 80% of what you achieve is achieved in 20% of your time. And 80% of your time is spent on just achieving 20% of the outcomes. Now, you can switch that around. You can immediately multiply your effectiveness by 400% overnight, immediately. Killer of time management number 2, and again. This is really, really simple. It's all about rereading the same information again. Very, very simple thing, and it happens all the time. But it wastes a month, a year of your time. That means that if you overcome this one simple mistake that just about everybody makes at some stage, you can claim back a month, a year of your time. That means that you could literally take the whole month of August off every year and still have exactly the same amount of work done throughout the year and go on vacation or holiday. How does that sound? I mean, your boss may not like it, but you'd have the same amount of work done every year. And it's things like rereading letters that you've already read, rereading proposals where you didn't act on them immediately or make a decision there and then. It's about rereading emails. You open an email, you read it, you decide you haven't got time to deal with it. Now you close it. You may even mark it as unread again, so that you read it again in the future. It's about listening to voicemails again, so that you listen to a voicemail and think, well, I can't do anything right now, I'm driving or whatever it is, I'll just listen to it again later. These are classic mistakes and they cost you a month, a year of your time. Killer of time management number 3, the open door policy. Now, we've been told for many, many years, you know, that you're supposed to be an available manager. You're supposed to be available to the people who need you in your business, your colleagues, your boss, whatever it is. Well, your boss you're always going to have to be available to. But if you fail to control interruptions, you're going to it's going to result in a massive waste of your time management. It's going to reduce your efficiency. If you're trying to focus on a project and you constantly got people coming in and interrupting you on a minute-by-minute basis several times during a project, your mind gets taken away from the project you're on. You then got to focus on what they're talking about, come up with a solution, get onto that, and then you got to come back to this thing and you've forgotten what you were doing, and it really does reduce your effectiveness. It also reduces the efficiency of others. You know, if they're coming in interrupting you, they don't have to be efficient themselves. They can just think, I got a problem, I'll go see Fred about it, or I'll go see Chris, whatever it is. They just come and see you, you solve the problem for them, they go off and do whatever they want to do. They're not being efficient in their own business. Seriously successful people value their time. You're not going to just be able to walk into the managing director of IBM and say, you got a minute for a meeting. If you want to have a meeting with a serious CEO of a major corporation, you're going to have to contact his secretary, get a schedule in his address book, make sure it's valuable time, that it's really important, and then schedule in that meeting at the time. It's not just about getting a meeting either. You've got to get the right thing. You've got to be a meeting that's important. Everything. The open door policy will literally kill your time management. Killer number 4, the long to-do list. Now, again, we've all been told you've got to have a to-do list. But if you've got too many things on your to-do list, you're not going to be efficient. You tend to start focusing on the quick things to reduce the list. I've done it myself in the past. You know, I've got a list with 30 or 40 things and I think I've got to get this list down to a manageable size. So I wind up working on the little things I can get off the list quickly to try and bring myself to the focus on the really important things. That means I'm not focusing my time effectively during the day, and important things get left and rushed at the end. So you wind up not only doing the important things first, but you wind up rushing them and doing them inefficiently at the end because you haven't got as much time to get it all done. This is a really critical factor, and again, come back to Pareto's law, the 80-20 principle. It's a vitally important one. It creates a massive change in this whole 80-20 principle if you just learn to control your to-do list in the right way. And we're going to come back to this really heavily in the 7 steps to time management. And number 5, failing to effectively schedule your time. Now, we all schedule meetings. You know, you've got a meeting coming up, you put it in your diary, you schedule it. But all too often, people fail to schedule tasks, the actual things you're going to try and do every day to really make sure you're moving in the direction of your goals. You kind of leave them on your to-do list and you don't schedule when you're going to be working on them. This means you have a lack of focus during your day. It also means distractions go unchecked. So if you've got a schedule and it says here, I've got blank space to do my tasks, okay, it doesn't actually say what you're working on, it's just a blank space in your diary, and people are interrupting you, when you come back, you haven't noticed that you've actually lost time which you should have been using to do the very important things on your to-do list. No structure to achieving your goals. Without a properly structured schedule of when you're going to work on each of your tasks, you've got no structure to achieving your goals. Killer number 6, no system for organizing projects and documents. This is, again, a classic problem. I've seen it so many times. You know, a desk covered in files and papers. It happens all the time. So many people have this as a problem. And I know, I got to put my hand up here, there are times even now when I was terrible at this for years and I still battle with it. Every now and then I have to stop what I'm doing, clear my desk and actually focus on making sure that everything's clear. I now have a policy where every single day I clear my desk, I file everything away and get it cleared away so that I've got a clean slate to work on in the morning. I've got my schedule, I've got everything sorted. Very, very important. Emails all in the inbox. Yeah, this is, again, I got to put my hand up here. This is one of the ones that I've struggled against for many years. And again, every now and then I have to stop myself and force myself to go through my inbox and clear out emails. Documents stored in various locations on the computer. Not having a structured filing system for important information that's held on your computer. Again, this is another classic example. And the result of this, well, slow to find information. Really, you can't be efficient finding information if you've got it all stacked up in piles on your desk. I know there are several people who think they are, but it really isn't. You lose information. I've seen this many times where there was one guy, he literally couldn't find a vital piece of correspondence. Eventually he got 3 secretaries to help him go through everything, and it had gone filed into the wrong folder. Because when he picked up one stack of papers that had to go into a correspondence folder for a particular project, he'd inadvertently picked up this other piece of correspondence with it and shoved it in a file. This was a crucial factor. He'd been working on this other project, got to the end of it, shoved all the stuff in the folder at the end of the project, and picked up this other piece of crucial information. It took him and these 3 secretaries 4.5 hours to find this one sheet of paper. That's 2 man-days of people's time lost purely because he didn't put it in the folder when he got it. He waited. He put it on a stack of correspondence. And it also means no one can really help you. You cannot delegate effectively if you haven't got things in an organized, systemized way of doing things. So we're going to come back to this again in the 7 steps to time management, because this is a very crucial part of the whole thing. And finally, the 7th killer of time management: hoarding useless information. Again, it's very closely related to the previous one. And let me give you a few examples. Old emails that you actually don't need anymore. You know, they're irrelevant, the projects are finished, or they weren't even relevant to a project in the first place. They're old, they're out of date, nobody ever needs them again, you just leave them in your system. Again, it is, very common. Old brochures you maybe going through a stage of buying some equipment or some looking at holidays, whatever it is, you get to the end of it, you've bought the product, you keep the brochure. Why? Why keep the brochure? Okay, then maybe you want the brochure on the one piece of equipment you bought, but you can get rid of all the rest. You don't need them. Old technical manuals that are out of date. You've got a piece of equipment. You've had it for years. You kept the manual, which you should do. You put it in a filing cabinet in an organized place with all the other manuals. 3 years later, you've no longer got that piece of equipment, but the manual is still there. And when you need to start finding manuals for things you've now got, you've got to sift through all these old manuals. Get rid of them. Get it out of your life. So what's the result? Well, it's hard to find valuable information when you want to find it. You're in a cluttered environment. Very, very important factor. And again, you come back to this whole thing about overwhelm. So we've now looked at the 7 killers of time management. And these are really, really critical. In the next video, we're going to look at the 7 steps to time management. And that's really going to show you exactly how to drive your life forward and give you real, usable tools you can take away straight away today to make a massive change in your life. And at the end of that video, I'm going to ask your permission to tell you how we're going to take this further, how we're going to move this further forward into your life and really make some changes, how to overcome procrastination. And I'm going to tell you about the book that obviously I'm here promoting today with these videos, because I know that when you've seen the power of the 7 steps to time management, you're going to want to know how to overcome procrastination. And in the book, I'll tell you about understanding procrastination, the types of procrastination, reasons for procrastinations, and how to make changes, the changes necessary to actually overcome all of those. We're also going to look at a form of procrastination that most people don't even know exists. It's called disengagement reluctance. And how overextending your energy can be totally avoided, which is one of the biggest causes of procrastination. But we're not just going to look at procrastination, we're also going to look at planning systems, inevitability thinking, making the outcome, the goals you set, absolutely inevitable always, the power of linked goals. Then we're going to look at the magic multiplier, which is a mental accelerator that drives you forward on a daily basis. And I really want to take you forward into implementing the systems in business and teams, how to get other people as motivated and effective as you are within your business, and how to guarantee maximum uptake of the new training. I'm going to come back to that at the end of the next video, but for the next video, really, let's take it forward. Let's time to prosper. It's time to stop dreaming and start doing.